Don't just say it. Don't just show up either. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about commitment, but not just any commitment, a specific commitment, which I'll break down here in a minute. But have you ever said, let's go? I'm so excited. I'm totally ready. I'm in 100%. It's all or nothing. Or maybe this is the year everything changes. Have you ever said that? I know I have. We all have. Let's be honest. And let me be clear. Those are all very good statements. They're not bad at all because vision matters, desire matters, wanting change for ourselves and in other things matters. But there's a tension that we don't talk about often enough. You see, what we commit to saying and what we commit to doing are not always the same thing. And if I'm being honest and we're being honest, that gap is where a lot of growth dies. So today I want to talk about commitment, but a commitment that follows through, not hype, not motivation, not emotion, but follow through. Because in the kingdom, commitment isn't proven by what we say. It's revealed by what we do. You guys, welcome to the Kingdom Family Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Velasquez. I'm excited for you to be here today, and thank you for tuning in. And if you've been a regular listener, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. It's a big deal to start something and then also try to grow it. If you know, you know, and if you don't, that's okay. But here's my ask. So I don't forget by the end of this episode, hey, do me a favor. Would you just go ahead, like, subscribe, or leave a review? It helps me personally, not stroke my ego, but truly I want to know what it is that listeners think and ways we can improve the show. And if you are not certain or unfamiliar with what we're all about here at Kingdom Family Movement, not just the podcast, it's very simple. We have one mission, and that mission is to simply restore God's original design for marriage, family, and the home. Because we believe that when we have strong families, according to God's intent, the way it's always meant to be, when the marriage is strong and the family is strong, the home is strong, which means we then have strong cities, strong counties, strong communities, strong churches, strong businesses. Everything else is foundationally more strong. So, hey, as always, subscribe and like, share it with a friend, and let's talk about commitment. You know, commitment is such a broad word and term, right? When we think about commitment, we can think of so many different things, and there's just levels when it comes to commitment. And not all commitment looks the same, right? That's why I think there are levels, and recognizing them is where we can really see change start and begin. So I kind of broke this down into three different levels, if you will. And level one is going to be the commitment we express, the things we say we're going to do, right? Anybody ever say they're going to do something and then maybe not follow through? I know this, I have, right? We're all, I don't want to say guilty, but we've done it. Okay. It happens. But it's simply where we say something out loud. I'm going to get healthier. I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to work on my marriage. I'm going to be more intentional with my family time. I'm going to focus on growing spiritually. These are good. This is intention. This is desire. It's vision. You know, and again, it all matters, right? So there's a place for all of this, but the context of it is commitment that follows through. But words alone don't move the needle. Trust me, to this day, and I'm not going to get into all of them, but there are things that I can think of that I have said that I've yet to do. I gave this example last week, maybe, but yoga was one of them. I set out this idea. I want to do yoga at least once a week, blah, blah, blah. It didn't happen. I didn't do it because I said it, but I truly wasn't committed. Obviously, I didn't even follow through. But this year's different. I've started it for the record. I'm doing yoga and I'm committed to once a week minimum. And my goal is to build to 2 to 3 times a week. Healthily is the goal. Anyways, besides the point, but maybe not. It proves the point. And in my vulnerability and honesty, I too struggle with this. Okay. But the point is words alone don't move the needle. And that was me with yoga, you know, and James reminds us of this, that faith without works is dead. That's the biblical context, the truth, right? And it's not harsh. It's just honest that we say things all too often in that first level. Because remember, level one is simply the things we express. Okay. Level two is commitment we show up to, right? It's easy to express it. The next layer is showing up. It's being in a position or place to where we can actually start to take action, turn the thing we said into movement, right? This is where it starts to even look real, maybe, right? We schedule it, we put it on the calendar, we drive to the gym, we show up to church, we sit in the car outside the trail that we plan to run on. Not me, by the way. I used to run. Maybe I will run again in some future out there. But my point is, it's some progress, right? It is progress. Okay. So again, level 1 is expressed commitment. Level 2 is the commitment to show up. It's to get to the place where it starts to become real. But it's critical that we recognize not necessarily has full action taken place. Okay. So it is progress, but here's the truth most of us miss. Showing up is not the same as stepping in. Okay. Let me put it in simple terms. Maybe I say I'm going to run, drive to the trail. I sit in the car. I showed up. I was committed, but I didn't run. Well, guess what? Very simple, right? That's not follow through. And no one's going to argue that. Hopefully, if you are, that's a different problem. But a lot of us are parked right outside the commitment we expressed and we showed up to, but we still haven't hit level 3, right? Level 3 is just commitment that's lived out. It's just like James is saying, it's action. It's not just faith, it's actual steps that we move towards and take to be committed to a process, a goal, whatever it is that was expressed, whatever it is we showed up to. Now we're diving all in, which is why I'm saying level 3 is commitment that we live out. Okay, this is where it truly becomes real, right? I actually open the door, I actually step out of the car, and I actually start running. Okay, let's be honest. I start walking and loosen up to get stretched out a little bit, and then I start running. Okay, but this is commitment in motion, right? This is true. In sports, nobody celebrates the athlete who almost trained, right? Michael Jordan didn't become great because he talked about practice. Steph Curry didn't become great because he talked about practice, right? He didn't become one of the NBA's best, 3-point shooters because he just sat on the sidelines. No. Same with Kobe Bryant. Think about these guys are the elite because they showed up often and always, not just occasionally, right? They became who they became because they did the work daily, consistently, even when no one was watching. And, let me pause there for a minute because we say that often enough that it sounds good, right? You got to do the work even when no one's watching, right? We use that we use that in integrity, right? You can learn a lot about a person when they do the right thing when no one's watching. Okay, well, this because they're committed to something beyond just expressing it and showing up to it. They actually jump in, right? And the kingdom works the same way. You see, commitment all the way through is what that means. So here's a hard truth that I need to hear, we all need to hear at times. There are things we've said we'd do that we just haven't yet done. And that doesn't make us failures. It doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make me a failure. It makes us human. And here's the lighter truth. Here's the maybe easier one to ingest. And remember, right? You're never alone. So don't think for 1 minute you're the only one who's ever expressed something and not followed through with it. That's all of us. That's me too. And let me just encourage you a little bit further. It's never too late to start to show up to the thing you expressed and begin taking action and actually walking it out and living it out. It's never too late. Okay. You don't need a restart. You just need a next step. You need a first step. Scripture gives us this, clear picture, maybe, right? A foundational thing to step into. And it's in Psalms 37. The word says, commit your way to the Lord, trust always in him, and he shall bring it to pass, right? He will direct our path. So I don't need to just commit and then be like, oh my gosh, I got to figure this out all on my own. No, I do have to take a step of faith And sometimes I don't know what it's going to look like, but I take it anyways because I'm committed to stepping all the way in and following through my expressed commitment. Okay. Notice what the verse doesn't say. It doesn't say commit your way and control the outcome. No, it says commit, trust, obey. That's the order. I like what Charles Spurgeon said, that faith and obedience are bound together like Siamese twins. Okay. You cannot separate them. Faith and obedience basically are coexisting together in that. Another great example, and probably one of maybe my favorite, and yet it's the most convicting when I really think about it. It's the story of Noah. And if you don't know, right, Noah was asked by God, because God found favor in him, to build an ark. I don't have all the specs in front of me, but it's a ridiculous size ark. And God told him to build the ark. Noah didn't then talk about the ark. God didn't say, go talk about the ark. God said, go build it. And he gave him the exact specifications. And what's wild to me about Noah's story is, sure, the size of the ark and all the things, but it's the time in which it took him. He was committed all the way in, and this project took 100 years. Think about that for a minute. That is not just expressed commitment. That's not just showing up to the place in which he built the ark, gathering the materials, which would be action. No, it is a complete committed follow through to do the thing God asked him. Okay. No applause, no crowd. And the crowds that were there were ones that ridiculed him. Different story. I'm going to keep trucking along here. But it's just obedience day after day. Okay. We know this to be true of Nehemiah, if you know Nehemiah's story. He rebuilt the city walls. And he didn't just express his desire to want to do it. He committed to the process, he showed up, and then he followed all the way through. He stayed committed. And here's why we get stuck sometimes. Okay, here's where it gets real. Most of us, and this is just a perspective, most of us struggle with, most of us don't struggle. Okay, we don't struggle with knowing what to do. We struggle with following through when it gets uncomfortable. We stop because it's hard, it's undesirable, it's slow maybe. Speaking about slow, remember Noah, 100 years. So if you're working on a project that's going to take you 100 years, maybe I will sympathize for you a little bit. But if it's not, listen, 100 years and we're complaining because something's not happening in 2 weeks, okay? But yeah, we stop because it's hard, it's slow, it's unseen. We're not seeing the results fast enough. It's inconvenient. Okay, I got to work on something after working all day. That's not fun. Okay, but here's what kingdom commitment isn't. Okay, it's not being driven by convenience. It's being driven by conviction. And Leonard Ravenhill said this, and I love this, and it's convicting all at the same time. He said, the cost of obedience is small compared to the cost of disobedience. What does that mean? Well, I'll give you my short perspective. It just simply means that when we don't take a action step of faith, or when we express something and then we don't actually show up and do it, the cost of not doing it tends to be more than the cost of when we do it. Am I saying that right? I feel like I'm not. Anyways, stick with what Leonard Ravenhill said. The cost of obedience is small. Sorry, there we go. So meaning it's a small cost to take action, to show up, to be committed and follow through. But the cost that we face if we don't is much greater. There we go. I did it. Holy cow, a miracle. And so I kind of want to land the plane with this a little bit, is to help us find healthy ways to not just be committed, but to actually follow through. You see, we need accountability that helps keep us anchored and in a place that we can actually do the things we say we want to do, because commitment grows strong when it's anchored. And here's how. First, and most importantly, is this, and I already expressed this, is that we have to commit what we do to God. And that's easy to say. Let me tell you, I believe it's a lot harder to show up to that and actually follow through on it. It's easy to say, oh, I commit my works to the Lord. But am I actually doing it? Am I doing it every single day? Not occasionally, no, not casually, but intentionally. So number one, commit to God everything you're doing. all of your works, all of your plans, commit them to the Lord. Two, we need to be committed to ourselves. We need to commit, and I don't mean this proudfully. I mean, trust and believe that God's given you something, an assignment, and trust He's given you everything you need to do it. And you can trust yourself because you're first trusting God. Okay, so take ownership. Don't outsource responsibility. Take ownership for the thing you're committing to, show up and follow through. And thirdly, is commit it or commit to someone else, meaning commit to someone who won't let you quit, who will not just, you know, keep you accountable, but they also believe in you. They believe in what you stand for, the mission, whatever it may be. They're committed to you in the process in which you're committed to just as much. Okay, not someone who excuses you. Trust me, I've excused people before and had to recognize, oh, shoot, that does not help them in their commitment process. Okay, so someone who's not going to excuse you, but someone who's going to encourage you. See, in Ecclesiastes, it reminds us that two are better than one. Two are better than one because isolation kills commitment. Isolation kills commitment. And sometimes I get it. Like in some sense, truthfully, I am isolated right now while doing this podcast, but it's the nature of the work I'm doing. So I didn't just talk about the podcast. I'm showing up right now. And now I'm putting in the actual work and taking the action to make this possible. Okay. But I also have people who I've told about the podcast who are asking, hey, how's the podcast going? Hey, what are you struggling with? How can I pray for you? How can I encourage you to keep going? Because I've told someone, I have that accountability and those people in my corner championing me along the way. So remember this, you guys, as we kind of land the plane, and think about this as you and I, as we kind of set our heart, as we recalibrate our hearts toward what it means to be committed. Okay. Let this be your reset for today. Okay. Don't just say it. Don't just show up. Take the step, open the door, step onto the trail, and do the thing you said you would do. Because commitment isn't proven by enthusiasm at the start. It's revealed by faithfulness in the follow through. That's just the truth. And remember, okay, your marriage is worth the work. Your family is worth the effort. Your home is worth the discipline all the time. Because what matters here at the Kingdom Family Podcast is that we truly start committing to the process of not just talking about, but showing up to and following through with restoring God's design and intent for our marriages, families, and homes, and beyond, of course. So whatever it is you are committing to, I charge you today to actually trust and put your faith in God, commit your works to Him, and acknowledge Him in the process. 2, believe in yourself. And 3, tell someone so they can encourage you along the way. You guys, I appreciate you. As always, if you would like to connect beyond the podcast, follow the link below in the show notes. That'll bring you to everything that we have going on, whether that's being part of our Kingdom Family Movement coaching framework, which is a private invite only. Hey, sign up for a free coaching call because I'd love to introduce that to you and see if it's a good fit. And sign up for the free weekly email we put out every single Monday. So you can have that in your inbox. So if you miss this podcast, you can have something to help you be reset for the week and get going on a high note. And as always, you guys, I appreciate you for tuning in to the Kingdom Family Podcast, and we will see you on the other side. Peace.